Did you just witness what happened live? Why was Taehyung crying beside Jungkook? What made Jungkook's voice tremble with anger as he spoke about HYB's unfair treatment? Don't scroll away. Read till the end, leave your thoughts in the comments, and make sure to like and subscribe so you won't miss what happens next. Because what unfolded tonight between Jungkook, Taehyung, and HYB may change everything you thought you knew about BTS. It began like any ordinary evening. ARMYs worldwide tuned in to a casual late-night live stream, expecting laughter, teasing, maybe even a little singing from Jungkook and Taehyung, the golden magne and the soulful baritone, side by side again after months apart. But within minutes, what was meant to be a light-hearted moment turned into something raw, unpredictable, and heartbreakingly human. The first question that spread like wildfire across social media was simple yet chilling. What really happened between Jungkook and HYB? Because in that dimly lit room, under the soft hum of background music, Jungkook's voice broke. Not just in tone, but in truth. He started the live smiling, joking, trying to hold on to the usual playful charm. "Hey ARMY," he greeted, waving at the camera. "We just wanted to hang out with you tonight. It's been a long week." His eyes darted toward Taehyung, who sat silently beside him, head low, a faint smile that didn't reach his eyes. For a moment, no one noticed the heaviness between them. But soon, silence became too loud to ignore. Comments flooded in. "Is Tae okay? Why does Jungkook sound nervous? Something feels off tonight." And then it happened. Jungkook took a deep breath, his fingers trembling as he leaned closer to the camera. "I think," he said, his voice cracking slightly, "I think you all deserve to know something." Taehyung's hand immediately reached out, almost instinctively, as if to stop him. But Jungkook shook his head, his eyes glistening. "No, Hyung. I can't keep quiet anymore." The live chat exploded. Heart emojis and confused messages filled the screen. Jungkook's expression hardened, pain flickering behind his eyes. "Sometimes," he began again, "people you trust don't treat the ones you love fairly. And I can't stand that anymore." For a split second, no one moved. The air in the room seemed to thicken. Taehyung's lips trembled as he looked away, his shoulders shaking almost imperceptibly. Jungkook noticed, and that was when everything shattered. "Taehyung didn't deserve what happened," Jungkook said suddenly, his tone rising, frustration lacing every syllable. "He gave everything. His music, his heart, his honesty. And what did he get in return? Silence. Restrictions. Jungkook stopped mid-sentence, breathing heavily as if holding back tears. Taehyung finally lifted his head, his eyes glassy and red. "Jungkook," he whispered softly, voice barely audible. But that one word carried years of exhaustion, heartbreak, and unspoken battles behind closed doors. ARMYs watching could feel the tension. It wasn't just a live anymore. It was a confession, a breakdown, a revelation that no one expected to witness. Jungkook's emotions spilled through the screen, raw and unfiltered. "HYB hasn't been fair," he said, his words trembling. "They didn't treat Tae the way he deserved. I've watched it for too long, and I'm done pretending everything's fine." Thousands of comments surged in within seconds. "What do you mean unfair? Is Jungkook talking about HYB? Why is Tae crying?" The entire fandom went into chaos, hearts breaking and racing at the same time. Taehyung tried to interrupt, his hand finding Jungkook's arm. "Please don't," he murmured, but Jungkook looked straight into the camera, defiant, hurt, and sincere. "No, they should know." It was in that moment that Taehyung's composure completely fell apart. Tears streamed down his face, silent at first, then uncontrollable. Jungkook immediately turned toward him, pulling him close without hesitation. "It's okay," Jungkook whispered, his voice shaking as he held Taehyung tightly, trying to comfort him as both of them trembled under the weight of truth. The ARMYs watching from around the world could barely believe what they were seeing. Two of BTS's brightest souls, one breaking down in tears, the other filled with fury, lived before millions. What exactly had HYB done? What had driven Jungkook to this moment of public outburst? And what pain had Taehyung been carrying so quietly all this time? The live continued for almost an hour, but those first 10 minutes were enough to send shockwaves through the fandom. Jungkook's usually calm demeanor had cracked open, revealing frustration that seemed to have been building for months, maybe even years. Taehyung, despite his tears, tried to keep the situation under control. Please don't misunderstand, he said softly, wiping his face. But Jungkook couldn't stop. No one should misunderstand anymore, he said. This isn't about hate. This is about respect. About fairness. About someone who's been treated unfairly just because he chose to be himself. Every word was a dagger, direct, fearless, and painfully honest. The atmosphere in the room was thick with tension, but also with something else. Truth. And that truth was what ARMY had been craving for years. Authenticity beyond the polished image, beyond the carefully written press statements. Jungkook was no longer an idol in that moment. He was a human being defending someone he deeply cared about, no matter the cost. Taehyung leaned closer to Jungkook, whispering something that microphones barely caught. "You'll get in trouble," he said, voice cracking. Jungkook only smiled sadly. "Maybe I already am." That single line sent chills through every listener. It was rebellion wrapped in sincerity, a confession of love and loyalty disguised as frustration. Social media lit up like wildfire. Clips from the live began circulating within seconds. Jungkook defends Taehyung against HYB. Taehyung breaks down crying during emotional live. Is BTS falling apart? The hashtag skyrocketed to #1 globally. But behind the viral clips was something far more intimate, an unfiltered bond between two people who had endured too much in silence. As the comments scrolled faster, Jungkook reached out again, gently brushing away Taehyung's tears. "Don't cry," he whispered, his voice breaking mid-sentence. "You didn't do anything wrong." The look Taehyung gave him, full of gratitude, pain, and affection, was enough to silence even the loudest rumors. It was the look of someone who had finally been seen. And in that moment, millions of ARMYs felt it too. This wasn't about idols and fans anymore. This was about two souls bearing their truth against a system that demanded silence. The question remained, what would happen after this live ended? Would HYB respond? Would there be consequences? Would Jungkook regret speaking out? Or would this be the beginning of a new era of honesty within the walls of one of the most powerful music labels in the world? The screen flickered as Jungkook exhaled deeply, looking directly at the camera. "You'll hear a lot of things," he said softly, "but just remember what you saw tonight. Remember how real this was." And with that, the live ended, not with laughter, not with a song, but with silence so loud it echoed across the internet. When the live finally ended, the world did not return to silence. Instead, it exploded. Within minutes, hashtags like #ProtectTaehyung, #WeStandWithJungkook, and #HYBUnfair began trending worldwide. Twitter, TikTok, and Weverse were flooded with clips, translations, and fan reactions. Every second, another ARMY posted a video of themselves crying, replaying the moment Jungkook's voice cracked or Taehyung's tears fell onto his hands. "What just happened?" one fan tweeted. "Did Jungkook just call out HW live? Is Taehyung okay?" Nobody had all the answers, but everyone felt the same chill, the same heartbreak. Something sacred had shattered that night. Not in a way that destroyed, but in a way that revealed the truth hiding beneath perfection. Behind the closed doors of their apartment, Jungkook and Taehyung sat together in silence after the camera turned off. The sound of Taehyung's quiet sobs still lingered in the room. The screen that once showed millions of hearts and comments now reflected their tired faces, both drained and trembling. Jungkook broke the silence first. "I'm sorry," he said softly. His voice no longer carried the strength it had during the live. It was almost a whisper now, a fragile echo of guilt. Taehyung shook his head slowly, still staring at the floor. "You shouldn't be," he murmured. "You only said